3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey, this is Mitch. Welcome to Red River Real Talk. I said Red River Real Classics earlier. You didn't get it because Dalton's going to cut it out. But I was thinking about classic cars. I got some classic cars going to the Barrett-Jackson auction this weekend. So this is, what are we, September? This is... 26. We're September 26th, so September 29th and the 30th. Be watching Barrett-Jackson auction and be bidding on my cars. Just want to let you know that they are there at no reserve, so I get a little bit nervous about that. I need to have Barrett-Jackson. They should pay for this spot, and this gives you a little pressure. Make sure you get it edited pretty quickly. Thank you. So we hadn't been on in a while. Hadn't been a lot in the news, or there has been. I've not been a lot in the news lately. I've been focused on a lot of other things, summertime, family, things happening, and we've had a great summer. Summer is officially over as of 2 days ago, I believe, and here we are in the fall. Great weather, and it's actually a great time to be on the picket line striking. So I can see why probably the union president decided 2 weeks ago, because I assume up north there's probably a little better weather 2 weeks ago, to go ahead and start striking. Why are they striking? Really have no idea. I assume they say they're not making enough money, but I assume the inflation. So the money they're making, they've got raises over the last several years, but the inflation rate has really overtaken any raises they've been able to get. And so Biden today, actually, I was reading in the news, entered the picket line saying they should demand more money. Folks, you missed a golden opportunity right there to be able to turn those picketing signs around and picket against the inflation rate that the Biden administration has indeed caused the American people. It's outrageous. We've talked about that before, how much more things cost. They say it's 7% inflation. I think it's way over 30%. If in reality, if anybody looks at the cost of goods of anywhere you go to shop, it's increased over 30%. And it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm hearing Dalton's over here telling me about a house he's buying that probably used to be $1,200 a month. Now it's going to cost him $1,900 a month. Y'all first-time home buyers? Yes. It's ridiculous for a first-time home buyer to have to be pushing $2,000 a month. And we're in Arkansas, one of the lowest cost places, the lowest cost of living places there is. And I feel for you. It's tough to be able to spend that kind of money, but that's the type of inflation we're dealing with. So union workers, I can understand why you're striking. What is union? A lot of people are saying, what are these people do? I really don't understand it. I've been researching it. Why is there a union? So I've been researching a little bit. I don't know exactly when unions started, especially in the auto world. I'm going to try to research that a little more. But basically, unions are to help make sure the workplace environment's safe. Everybody's treated equally, and that I guess they can participate in as the companies do better, they can do better. They can negotiate those things. Unions have become very, very political over the last probably 30 years. They've just become political, and now they're very political. As a matter of fact, this new guy, I think his name is Shawn Fain, Fain, ran for president, basically telling people he's going to go on strike. He's going to try to shut the economy down. He said today, they're in charge of the economy. They are the labor force that controls the economy, and that's his goal. And there's a lot of political things that went into him, as I'm seeing, running for president, money that was given to his campaign that not everybody knows where it's from. We do know that $25,000 came directly from somebody that he ended up employing right after he won, and they're making $174,000 a year, who the union president makes around $300,000 a year, while he tells all these other people to walk out and make $500 a week. So it's easy for him to say, step off your job, cut your pay in half, while he keeps raking in the money. Understand that. But now he's trying to not just fight for fair labor inside of the store, not just fight for, good health care, not just fight for safe working environments, but now he's trying to control, and what has happened a lot of times in unions, how they disperse their money. One of the biggest complaints is how much the CEOs, the bonuses and the money that the CEOs make at Ford, Stellantis, which is Chrysler, and GM make. I totally agree. It's outrageous, the amount of money they get. It's outrageous, the bonuses they get. But when they're hired, it's a it's a pretty tough job. I'm sure it's a 6-day-a-week job. They take a lot of heat from a lot of people. And I meant to put the numbers together, but I lightly averaged out the numbers. If they were to do away with their big bonuses, how much money could that give across I believe it's 154,000 union members? And it equated to really nothing if you didn't pay them the bonuses they receive. But I think GM, let's see, GM bonus, GM bonus for 22. Sorry, I should have looked this up earlier. I did, but then I forgot it. I should have wrote it down. How much GM CEO made. And this is what they're upset about. And it's big money, right? She made, in 2021, she had $7.6 million in bonus. I believe all of them make north of $20 million a year. And it's crazy. That's $7.6 million. Could they have dispersed it out amongst some other members? They could. I believe right now they all work in a profit sharing plan now. They all are able to participate in stock ownerships now. But you know who really had a big bonus? That's the Moderna CEO. Did you know that? Moderna CEO last year made over $900 million in a bonus, or what they call a parachute payment that they gave them. $900 million. So if you add up all these CEOs' bonuses of the 3 companies they're striking, it doesn't even equate to 100. Did you hear how much I said the Moderna made? Did you hear, Dalton? $900 million. It would take 13 years of bonuses that these auto workers made. That really does steer on the economy, right? Really does steer on the economy. They're putting cars in people's driveway. They're building parts, which you guys didn't think about was when these people go on strike and your car breaks down, you come into one of our dealerships to try to get your car fixed. We're not going to be able to provide you with that part in time. And eventually, we're not even going to be able to give you a loaner while we wait on that part because we're going to be out of cars like we were during the pandemic. Man, I can remember that. We don't have a loaner because we don't have any cars, and I know your car's broke down. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Well, here's where we are again. But did I tell you guys how much Moderna CEO made? I thought, yeah, a lot of money. Is anybody striking them? I mean, look, put the vaccine on hold, right? Let's put the vaccine on hold. The government's already given them $46.9 billion, I believe, to make the vaccine, of which the FDA has not approved, and they've not even had great testing on yet. But they've already paid them for this vaccine, while this guy over here is making $900 million. That's ridiculous. How come nobody's striking them for their money? Yeah, why don't? But you know what? Biden was right there. When he was there on the line today, why don't somebody come? That's not a conspiracy. You saying it's a conspiracy? You made $900 million? No, I'm saying why people are striking Google itself puts it out there. Right? 900. But you know what? He's saving lives because there's been no adverse effects for the vaccine at all. Nobody's died over the vaccine. This guy's saving lives. So hey, it's okay for him to get $900 million. He's not a scientist, but he's a CEO. Let's give him $900 million. Let's go back to the union where we're at. Yeah, don't get kicked off YouTube. I didn't. I just said they're saving lives. He's saving lives. But I tell you who is saving lives. And there's a lot of things these automakers do that I do not agree with, right? And I think part of the union problem is, especially younger people probably coming in, going to work there, is that they probably look and say, hey, it's unfair that this dude over there is making 3 times more than me, and I'm doing all the work. But that's part of the problem of a union as well, because he knows he can't get fired. He can't get canned. As a matter of fact, he's probably going to tell you to slow down so that you don't make him look bad. So really the unions ought to go in there and just totally rework the way it's operated. Union people ought to be able to come together. They should be able to fire the people that aren't holding up their end of the bargain. And I think I saw a temporary worker over there making $17.50 an hour, and he's griping. He wanted to make more money. He's temporary, number one. So you ought to be happy that he had a job. Obviously, he's been having a hard time struggling. He's been struggling trying to find a job. But since we were trying to build a lot of cars, they hired temporary workers. They didn't want to guarantee them forever because they knew the economy was fixing to come to a halt, which is where we're starting to see. Maybe my little conspiracy theory is they were okay with this strike, the big auto manufacturers, because you can turn around and look at my stores right now, and my Ford store, my Dodge store, and is loaded with inventory. We got all kinds of inventory. So,
you got 3 trucks today.
3 trucks came in today. So, you know what? Hey, if we go a month without cars or whatever, Sean Fain, we're going to be okay. We got a lot of cars. But you know who's not going to be okay is those people with the 2 and 3 year old cars. That way they can't get a part because you're shutting down even the people that are shipping the parts out. Normally we'll order a part and it'll come straight from factory in 2 days because y'all have them sitting there ready to go. But now y'all are shutting down. So the normal person, the blue collar person, is going to be struggling. And you're right. You are in charge of the economy, Sean. This is going to put a hurt on the working man, the working mom, the single mom that needs to have her car taken care of. I don't know where do we go from here. I don't know what the answer is. If I did, it wouldn't help because nobody listens to me. We'll probably get 3 listeners on this today. 70, maybe 70 listeners. So share it, right? So part of their problem is, I believe, is electric cars too. The electric cars, which the Biden administration is fighting to have built, which Biden was on the picket line, involves a lot of automation. They don't need people there. So they can build an electric car, less efficient, less people. They don't have to deal with as much health insurance. They don't have to deal with as many threats of union strikes if they're building an electric car. So it's funny that Biden, who's pushing for the electric car, is on the strike demanding higher wages. Is it almost like he's trying to make sure these cars get so high in price that you'll have to buy an electric car? Oh no, Sean, guess what? When that electric car goes up and the gas prices go down, they won't need as many people to work. And you just fought for that. You fought to make the high price of a car to make it equal to the electric car. Right now, people aren't buying electric cars because they cost so much. Well, as soon as they get up there the same price, you're going to see more of those cars sold, and you'll see less ICE vehicles, which you are building. 99% of your union workers are building for ICE vehicles, and then the demand won't be there. They'll be forced to lay you guys off. Maybe that's part of the union job, is to be able to get more money when they do get laid off. I'm not sure about that either, but we need to look into it. But let's look into who fights for that president. Like, there was another guy that just let go. His name was Randy, I think, or Curie, I don't know, that Sean beat him out for the union. And so I'm trying to wonder, I started researching Google, DuckDuckGo, everywhere. Who elected this guy? Whose campaign money? They just like president, they run for money. They raise money. Other than that one person they gave a job to that donated over $25,000, who else is given to this? And there's no record of who's given money to them. If I was China or Japan or South Korea, whoever's building all these foreign cars, I would tell him to go on strike, because you know who's winning? Kia, Hyundai, Toyota, Honda. They're all winning in this instance, because if they have shared suppliers, those suppliers aren't going on strike, but they need to keep building their product. Who do you think they're going to turn to? Toyota. So good news is I own a Toyota store. We're probably going to get more Toyota product, because they're going to, the suppliers will start feeding them. Just like during the COVID, they started feeding the electronics because the auto shut down. So they started putting all their efforts in the electronics, which is now overwhelmed with inventory. And hopefully, Toyota don't get that way where their value starts dropping. They'll be a little more careful. But that's what's going to happen. So I'm wondering, are those people feeding this guy?
Maybe, but if you look at Toyota, and they're having issues with parts right now, like the Tundras. Like, they have recall after recall, and a side molding for the seats right now in the Tundras. Our Windstor has like 150 to 200 on back order.
Well, so whoever their vendor is may not be doing a good job. But you guess what they can negotiate now? A new vendor, because those vendors that are dealing with for Ford and GM and Dodge, they're going to go negotiate, and now Toyota can get a better price. They're not union. They're never going to be shut down. Only thing's going to shut them down, just strictly economy, right? So if I was China, I'd be giving this guy money to keep up what he's doing, because guess what? I'm the world's #1 electric car maker. Okay. The only reason they don't have them into our area right now is because of the trade bargaining that Trump set up. As soon as somebody breaks that, they can get them cars in here at a cheaper price. Why are they #1? Because that's where most of the stuff, lithium and everything for batteries are mined over there. So everything we're doing is relying on China. the only thing holding us back right now is our government, that we're trying to keep them from bringing their products in at an unsafe and cheap product. We don't want on the road, right? And people dying in them.
You should go into the mining of lithium, how actually bad for it. I'll find pictures of.
Oh yeah, we'll go into that another time, because we can talk forever on the mining of lithium. That's what the union, and I do believe that's part of this strike too. I do believe they want less less electric cars, because it's, there's not a demand for their workers. But they've got to take that up with the administration, and you don't see that in the media much at all. Them talking about that. All it is about 40% increase in price or in payment. There's probably people on the factory floors that deserve a 40% increase. But I run businesses, half for 20 years. I can promise you, not 100% of them deserve a 40% increase. Some of them may deserve a 100% increase. Others probably deserve to be hitting the road. I can promise you, just because I've been around in a factory workers, that there's probably one guy that can do 4 guys' jobs, while those 4 guys are just hanging around. And that's really what we need to get back to capitalism. Capitalism is, you do what's right, and we're going to be able to sell your product, and your product's going to sell, and you can buy more, and then you can pay your people more because you're building more, right? That's what I always say about capitalism. This electric car thing that we're pushing, people are wanting to sue Ford for things that, outrageous things they're asking for Ford dealers, and I agree with it, but at the same time, I believe capitalism at its best. Ford's already seeing it. They're putting demand on dealers to build this infrastructure so that they can get these electric cars, and dealers, as prideful as we are, all went in and spent the money to do it, but now we don't even want the electric cars because we can't sell them. So now Ford's begging every dealer to take electric cars, not just the ones that built the infrastructure. So capitalism at its best, right? Working there. And I believe that if you could get the unions back to doing that, then, or the automakers back to doing that, which I think the only way of doing that is to end up getting rid of the union. I don't know. I know I got a lot of friends and family that are parts of unions, teachers unions. Your wife's part of a teacher union, I'm sure. But I've also heard people that are parts of those unions that don't agree with them, but you're forced to waste your money.
There's like 2, you pick one.
Yeah, so you're forced to have to put money into that union, where there's somebody like Sean making $300,000 a year to sit behind his desk and figure out how he can antagonize the manufacturers. But you may not even agree with everything they say. But if you don't go strike, talk about bringing back the bullies, everybody's bullying you, right? So I understand that aspect of it too. And that ought to be against the law. It should be against the law to have pressure from the union leader or the fellow union people that you're working with, whether it be a teacher, automaker, railroad, for them to make you give money to the union. And I'm sure it is against the law for them to make you, but they do bully you. There probably ought to be somebody come out with a big class action lawsuit against that, because a lot of people don't agree with it. And those people that don't agree with it, they know I'm going to go in there, I'm going to do my job. They're not going to fire me because they need me. Those are the people that don't agree with it, right? And I'm probably going to get a raise because they're going to see that if I leave, they need me. And that's how capitalism works. And I think that's where it should be. I've seen people go out there and put on a call or say, hey, here's the perfect time for all these automakers to get rid of unions. I don't know how easy that is. I don't know if you can do that. And honestly, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I don't know. I just would like for somebody maybe to come on and tell me, other than just making sure everybody gets more of a raise, what all unions do. I would like to understand that, what the union does for every individual, not just as a bulk, because I think people should be treated individually. I'd like to know anybody that works for a union place, that is not a member of the union. I would also like to know that. That'd be just to hear their story and hear why. That'd be a good idea to find out. Yeah. So anyways, everybody comes up to me and asks every day, how is this union strike going to affect us? I mentioned it a little bit. Part supply, we're going to see a whole lot less part supply. So please, when you go into us or into your local dealer and we say the part's on back order, please don't take it out on us. All we can do is all we can do. But we understand you have to throw your frustration somewhere, and we're willing to take it. But I'm just telling you, don't take it out on my guys, because they can't go get the part. They can't create the part The people that do create the parts have been gone on strike. And so that's one. But two, I mean, this could be a good and bad thing. We're going to see an increase in new car prices. We were anticipating big rebates by this time. They've held that off. Ram come out with some rebates, but they're already backing off. And so the incentives that were going to entice people to go ahead and buy a car, the ones that didn't overpay, the last 2 years, now they can come on in and get a good deal, which you need a good deal because interest rates are a little higher too. Those are backing off. So the prices are going up. The MSRPs already went up, but now we're not going to see any discounts. But the good news is if you are driving a vehicle you bought the last 2 years, your value has plummeted big time, but it'll probably start climbing up. If you bought a domestic vehicle, I don't know about a foreign vehicle. That's to be determined because during COVID, everybody couldn't get a vehicle. But now the foreign suppliers are going to be able to put vehicles on the lot where the domestic aren't. I assume probably people that never thought of buying a foreign vehicle might have to go buy a foreign vehicle next month. So maybe that'll help them hold on to the value because they're still going to sell a bunch. I don't know. All I know is if you're somebody that you're not happy with the purchase you made a couple years ago, hang in there 4 to 6 weeks, watch it increase in price, and then make your move. Make your move then. Because when it comes down again, it's going to come down hard. And that is going to affect you. Yeah. Not a moment. What'd you say?
I made my movement too early.
Yeah, you made your movement too early. That's right. But I wish I could predict exactly what's going to happen. If I knew every used car was going to go up, I'd go buy every used car I could buy right now. That'd be a heck of a gamble. I don't know. But I do believe they're going to go up. And prices are going to keep getting higher. And I believe this union, unless it's all a ploy to get rid of the unions, if it's a ploy to put the manufacturers into bankruptcy, and it might if it's not a ploy to put them into bankruptcy, it may put them into bankruptcy anyways because they agree. They're wanting 4-day work weeks. 4-day.
Should we go biblical on that, man?
Well, biblical 6 days a week, right? 4-day. They want to work 36 hours a week. 4-day work weeks with a 40% increase in pay. That's ridiculous. So they're going to build, I don't know how many days they work now, 5 or 6, but, say they work 5, that's going to be 20% less production they're going to get. They're going to go up 40% in pay. It will put them into bankruptcy. So the only thing that got them out of bankruptcy before is COVID. Increased prices may help them make more money. We're going to see a turnaround this year, next year. The manufacturers weren't going to make the kind of money they're making, which is why before they were paying them a profit share, right? They paid them a profit share. That way, if they did do good, they'd make more money. They didn't, they'd make less money. But this will put them into bankruptcy. What do you think the end goal there is? Do you think the government will bail them out? Does the government want to own it? They owned GM for a little while.
They did. We might start seeing that again. But I'm kind of thinking on the spectrum of we haven't seen MSRPs go down in a while.
Yeah.
And so they're still making more money than they were before. So maybe they need to have an agreement of let's keep 5 days a week, but we'll go up 40%.
40%. That's crazy.
I mean, I agree, but also, what's the percentage of MSRPs have raised up?
MSRP probably 8 or 10.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
let's raise 10%.
Yeah, right.
I feel like it goes.
Well, they say they increased the MSRP due to the cost of goods because they've gone up.
Cost of goods to a vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
What's the cost of goods?
Well, getting your fenders, your electronic items, and your seats, everything just costs so much more money
Well, I'm hearing
because everybody's demanding more money. Everybody's demanding more money because of the inflation rate that we've seen with this administration. Which, by the way, didn't the administration, I believe, last week meet with the Chinese administration? I don't know if the president met with their president or what, but almost makes you wonder how that conversation went. What's his name? Z? X-I? Z? What did he say? Hey, how's it going over there with you owning all the manufacturing? How does that work?
How does that work?
Maybe we'd like to own all our manufacturing. What's the best way to do it? Put them into bankruptcy, then we can get it out for free?
I think you're giving Joe way too much credit. Because Joe...
Well, it's not him, but I said the administration.
Yeah, Joe's over there for cameras and asking him what flavor ice cream he likes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You said that on live. Oh, no, it's not live. You can leave it in there. That's fine. But yeah, right. I mean, is that a conversation he had?
Yeah.
Because, their administration, they're in charge of every manufacturing over there. They get everything comes to them. They want to see everything that's happening inside the manufacturer. They are in charge. And is that the ultimate goal? I believe there's some people up there that believe the ultimate goal is for us to be like that. I don't know. Not for me. That wouldn't be my goal. But you know what? Here's all I'm doing is living for the Lord. I know the Lord's in charge, and He's going to guide every step of our way. And what I'm doing right now is trying to sell cars, right? Trying to sell cars. I'm buying a little bit of property. Trying to make sure I raise my kids right in the way of the Lord. The Bible says, train them up in the way of the Lord, and they will. I can't remember. They'll go the right way. That's the hope, right? They're going to go the right way. And learning, okay. Well, good. But I thank you guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to the ramble on about the union auto workers. Red River Ramble. I'm going to try to do some more research. I'm going to learn more about it. Honestly, I'm not learning the history of it. I've been trying to look and see what happens and how it's going to affect us in the future, my company, my business, my family. Something else I just found out right when I was studying this. Do you know there's 5 insurance companies that have major insurance companies just went into receivership? A friend of mine, let's see if he texts me back.
What's receivership?
Basically bankruptcy.
What? Like State Farm?
Yeah, a friend of mine had homeowners with Hanover, had a hell claim, and they can't pay them. They went into receivership. Not State Farm. State Farm didn't, but there's a lot of major ones did. State Farm was rated like a negative this year, which they've never been. Farm Bureau was like a B- this year. They've never been that low. So they're all rated to lose money this year. So if they're not big enough, they're going to go bankrupt.
Makes me nervous trying to buy a house now.
So what I've been told is you better get ready. You're going to see a 30, 40, 50% increase on homeowners insurance. So you better get your quote locked in right now. But that won't stop, say, 2 years from now. If they want to increase your homeowners insurance, they can increase it by 200% if they want to. So your payment goes from $1,900 to $2,100. Anyways, we'll do some research on that, see how that's going to affect us later, how that's going to affect your auto buying experience, how much that's going to cost you in the future. Thank you for checking us out, for listening to us at Red River Real Talk. Check us out at redrivermerch.com. We're adding more stuff daily. We're coming up with some designs, and we're looking at maybe starting a little in-house clothing center here near Cabot. Hey, look, pay attention. Coming soon near you.